Rambam, we're learning the laws of the temple. We are in the laws of Isuri Mizbeach, the things that are prohibited to be on the altar in the Holy Temple. We are in chapter 2. So there are a total of 50 blemishes that disqualify both man and animal. They've already been listed. Yeah, that was been listed. There are other blemishes that are unique to animals. By the way, man is not offered on the altar, but the blemish on a man means he cannot bring the offering on the altar. Right? So, so they're similar between man and animal in some of that. Then there are other blemishes that are unique to the animals and not appropriate to be found in humans at all. There are 23 of these. They are the animal's eyeballs are round like humans. One eye is large like a calf's, and the other is small like a duck's. Imagine what the sages need to know about animals in order to to know this. Like, you ever notice these things? Yeah. If, however, one ear is large and one ear is small, even if it is small as a bean, it is acceptable. If there's an interruption in the white of the eye that has hair growing from it, then it's also not good, right? Another thing that's a blemish, a cartilage between two nostrils was perforated in a place which it can be seen, right? The fifth thing is the mouth resembles that of a swine. The upper jaw overlapped its lower jaw, even though it was not pointed like a spit. I don't know what this is talking about, be quite frank, because, you know, I don't know what the swine, exactly looks like. And with their teeth.
You see cartridges of nostrils are perforated. Nostrils of two nostrils are perforated. That's from.
No, this is talking about animals.
No, but that's for people. They see that in people.
Oh, yeah. That's true. I've seen that. That's true. Yeah. Number 3, if the outer tonsils were perforated, their substance was reduced, even though a portion of them remained. They shriveled, or its inner tonsils were removed. These are considered a blemish. Why? Because it is open. It opens its mouth and shriek. It will be seen that they are missing. Oh, and just when it opens its mouth to shriek right, then you're going to see that it's gone.
About this because of
No, that's a good. Menachem Hill is asking a good question. Like, how would they know this as sages? Like they were such farmers, that they would know such things. So he says, would they know it from Ruach HaKodesh, from divine, prophecy? So no, because Torah is not in heaven. You cannot adjudicate a law because God told you something in a dream, or he told you whatever. It has to come from the Torah, has to come from the teachings, and that's the debate the sages have. So, so in the Gemara, I can't remember now who it was, but there was one of the sages that spent a year on the farm to learn various things that he didn't know about. So my understanding is various sages had various wisdom, not necessarily each sage had all the wisdom of all the animals or of all the crops and all of these, things that they needed to know, but collectively, so one sage would learn from another then. Right, this is what they saw. So, but it's all based on what is the general principle of something that's called a blemish. right? And that we learned previously that because the Torah says an eye and a foot. No, I don't know if it says, I don't remember now, or foot, meaning something that is perceivable. From there, they learned, what is what is equated between the two of them? A perceivable blemish. So now the question, what is called a perceivable blemish? So, for an animal or even for a human, for a Kohen, that would make them not fitting to serve. So we learned, like yesterday, we learned that if a Kohen was bow-legged, he could not serve because that's a perceivable blemish. You might say, well, what's his fault that he was born that way? Got nothing to do with fault. What's your fault that I was born a Levite, not a Kohen? I was born that way. So I was born that way spiritually. Some people are born that way physically, because that means to say that their function in life will not be to be the Kohen that is going to do the service in the temple. They'll still, it doesn't demote them as a Kohen. They're still a Kohen. They can't do the service. They have another part. They would do the wood, right? In the holy temple, they would check the wood to make sure that the wood wasn't wormy, it wasn't infested, and so on. Or they had other functions they had to do. It just means your function is a different function. Why? That's what God wants.
So the Rambam gathered all the stages of wisdom and put it
Now,
together.
this is all based on the Talmud.
Also,
Yeah, he's taking from the Talmud. He's taking from the Talmud, from the sages. Now, did the Rambam himself know all these things? On some level, he knew. Some of it he only knows because of what the sages said. Some of it he knew because he himself learned the process. He's a doctor, but that doesn't mean you're a farmer. Right? That doesn't make you a farmer. A doctor doesn't make you a farmer. A farmer doesn't make you a doctor. Yeah. Okay. If the horns of the inner fibrous tissue was removed and nothing of it remained, a female animal that has horns is acceptable. If the substance of the skin which covers the male organ of the animal was blemished, right? These are all things that are called a blemish, right? If the substance of the female organ of the animal was blemished, if the substance of the tail is blemished from its bone, if its substance is blemished from its joint, it is not a blemish. I just got from Yannick a text. We're just talking about him. If the substance of the female, okay, it's a blemish. If the tip of the tail was split into two with two separate bones, so that's a blemish. If there was a finger's breadth of flesh between every joint on the tail, if the tail was overly short, to what extent? For a kid, one vertebrae is a blemish. For two are not. For a lamb, the length of two vertebrae is a blemish, but three is acceptable. If the tail of a kid was soft and hanging loosely, like that of a pig, again, not good. If one of the tail bones was broken, if, however, one of the ribs are broken, it is acceptable because the blemish is not visible. See, that's the distinction here. By the tail of the animal, it's going to be visible if the bone is broken. You're going to see that it's not. I guess doesn't have the look of the normal tail, but a rib of the animal, right? That if it's broken, that's not going to be noticeable. Because remember, I told you the principle that the Torah gives the example. I know it was the leg. I don't remember if it's the eye or maybe it was the lip. I don't remember. Right? In other words, it has to be something visible. A 5-legged animal, okay, instead of a 3-legged animal. The hooves of one of its hinges or four legs was round like that of a donkey, even if it has split hooves. I missed one. Five-legged, three-legged. If the hooves of one hind legs or four legs, so it's round like that of a donkey, if it has split hooves.
No, you missed a lot.
Huh?
You missed a lot. So go back to
No, I did four.
did it all.
Yeah, it's a-
Putting the breast of flesh between every joint. And
Yeah, I did all that.
Did it not?
Yeah. Yeah. If the hooves of one of the hind legs or forelegs was not split like that of a donkey, this is the meaning of the term kalud, which is mentioned in the Torah. Like that. So another has to be split, right, to be kosher. So it wasn't completely split, like a donkey, it's not completely split. So then it's invalid. Because again, that's visible. If it's hooves and the fibrous substance inside has shriveled, even though there remains some of the fibrous substance next to the flesh. Boy. All of the 73 blemishes listed disqualify an animal from being offered as a sacrifice. If an animal that is consecrated contracts one of these blemishes, so you gave this animal to consecrate it, right? And then it got a blemish. It should be redeemed and it becomes like an ordinary animal with the exception of the animal that is old and sick or foul smelling. These blemishes are mentioned. Okay, that's it. Okay. Although such animals are unfit for sacrifice, they may not be redeemed. Instead, they should be maintained until they contract another permanent blemish. Then it should be redeemed. That's not a sufficient blemish, so they need to have more of a blemish, and then they should be redeemed. Similarly, the consecrated animal that contracts a temporary blemish should neither be redeemed nor sacrificed until it gets a permanent blemish, because it's not here, not there, right? You can only redeem an animal that is in a state of blemish certainty. But if it's not here, not there, then you can't. Therefore, you have to wait till it is got that certainty, then you can redeem it. Okay. There are 4 temporary blemishes. So the blemishes we spoke about earlier were permanent blemishes, right? Now we're speaking about temporary blemishes disqualify man and animal. Moist skin eruption. Okay. A boil that does not resemble those of Egypt. Oh boy. Water that descends. How would anybody know what resembles an Egyptian boil? They know. Don't ask me. Water that descends in the eyes, that is not a permanent condition. In the eyes. Degeneration of nerves. Degeneration of nerves in the eye that is not permanent. Wow. Okay. 8. There are 4 other ailments that are found in an animal prevented from being sacrificed. The rationale is that such an animal is not from the choice, as the Torah says. Next week's parsha. The sacrifice must come from the chosen of your vows. So there's visible a visible blemish.
Mhm.
Another thing, it has to be of a choice animal, as the verse says, right? We just said. They are, huh?
That's audible. The blessing. It has to be blessed.
What do you mean?
It says, rational says choices from the choice, scripture says. From chosen vows, from your vows.
Well, you're bringing a sacrifice because it means a sacrifice that you made a vow to bring a sacrifice. It needs to be of your choicest animals. That's what it means.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
From there, we also learn that even other animals, well, no, Your animal, yeah. Others, you're making a vow, I'm gonna bring this animal, or I'm gonna bring a animal because I sinned, so I have to bring, right? That's what it means. So you need to bring from the choices,
Oh, okay,
okay?
that's easy.
Right. So they are an animal with an eruption of the white of the eye, but does not have hair growing from it. The substance of the horns of an animal was reduced, but their inner fibrous tissue remained. The substance of the inner tonsils was reduced. The inner tonsils shriveled. So in all of these cases, it's not from the choicest. If a consecrated animal had one of these blemishes, it is neither sacrificed nor redeemed. Instead, it should be allowed to pass through the contracts of disqualifying a blemish. If it is sacrificed, it appears to me that it is acceptable.
So you can just sacrifice even though it has these blemishes.
Yeah.
You still say it is acceptable.
Why?
Those aren't
But the
major-
blemish is not disqualify it.
Those aren't major blemishes,
They're not major. Yeah.
and they have to wait until it gets a major blemish. That's probably just like a little bit of fun.
So, 1 second. In other words, the choicest is something that you should do, but is not a disqualifier. That's the point. So you should take from your choices, but if it's not, and you did bring it, it's not disqualified. It's acceptable. Similarly, when a transgression was performed with a consecrated animal, or it killed a person, like that animal killed a person, and now you brought it as an offering, right? But was not observed only by one witness. So if there were two witnesses, then that animal would be stoned if it killed, right? Put to death.
How can it be sacrificed with a blemish?
No, this is not a blemish.
Until he can contract a permanent blemish, then he can be sacrificed.
Oh, that's
Okay.
it is neither sacrificed nor redeemed until it contracts a permanent blemish. So you made a transgression and you consecrated an animal. Oh,
With one owner?
if it was sodomized. If an animal was sodomized, right?
Yeah.
That's a transgression with an animal. Or that animal killed the person, right? You can't bring it as a sacrifice, right? But it's because it's not a permanent blemish. That's the key over here. It's not a permanent blemish. It's a blemish in the act of what was done with it, or what it did, right? But it's not it's not a blemish of the body. When the Torah is speaking about a blemish, it's speaking of a blemish of the body. This is a blemish of its soul, if you will, right?
In the moment.
In the moment, what it did. So it can't be sacrificed, but it can't be redeemed either, because it's not. Because redeem means that it can't be used. So because we can't use it, but on the other hand, it's not totally, it's not a real blemish. So therefore, we have to wait until it contracts a permanent blemish, and then we redeem it. Wow. Okay, amazing. Okay, I would love to continue,
Straight talk. Straight talk.
but oh,
Unless
we
you
have 30 people watching on social media. That whoa, that's a huge amount. Amazing. Yeah.
I wonder if he's there.
No, he texted he's going to be here Wednesday. All right, folks, it's amazing. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you.